In this video we'll be taking a look at 10 opening traps you need to know. So our first trap starts after the queen's pawn opening d4, d5. We are playing against the queen's gambit and this is an opening trap for black. So we are going to start off with the move e6, and the move e6 is the Albin counter gambit, which is a playable opening, and here the trap will arise after white takes our pawn on e5. So the move that we're going to play here is the move d4, and the move d4 is really annoying for white because this pawn is now taking away these two squares and it's pretty hard for white to develop. So a normal looking move for white would be to play something like pawn to e3 to try and capture our pawn here on d4. We are going to play bishop to b4 check. White is going to block, for example here with the bishop, and then here we are going to start with the move pawn takes e3, and this is the beginning of the trap. So as you can see here, right now white can actually capture this bishop, which would be of course a mistake, because we have the amazing move pawn takes pawn on f2 check. And you can see, of course, if the king takes this pawn, we can take this queen for free. So white cannot take this, white will have to do something like king here. And now, probably the most amazing chess move I have ever seen. We have to promote into a knight, so we can give a check. Because if you promote into a queen, there's actually this, 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 and there's not much for black. But here we promote into a knight with check, and if white takes this knight, of course we now have our bishop check, the king has to move, and then we also take this queen for free. White doesn't have to take the knight, white can also just choose to move the king again, for example play a move like king e1, but still white is going to be in a lot of trouble because we have queen h4 check, the king has to move, and here we just play something more calm like knight to c6, and we are still behind here, but at the same time this position is really bad for white, because what is he going to do? For example, if he captures this knight here, we can capture this bishop, and then if he does something like developing his knight, there's always something like queen d4 check, for example, king e1, and this variation is just filled with traps. For example, here we win the rook, and even if white tries to do something else, tries to stop this check, or maybe he tries to move his king again, and many variations, we will also get this here. So for example, something like bishop g4, bishop e2, and then we also have moves like rook d8, and there's just so much pressure, white is going to lose a piece in every single line. So this is quite an amazing trap. Then the next trap we're going to take a look at happens in the Italian game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, because in the Italian game you can always try to go for the tricks here with the knight takes on f7. So black is going to play knight f6, knight g5, and here white will try to take this, and the best way to defend this, or basically the only way to defend this for black, is to play the move d5, because any other move, for example, maybe something like bishop here is still playable, but then you have bishop takes check. So the only thing you can do here is to play d5, we capture this, and the trap happens after black takes this pawn with the knight. Because now we have this amazing move, knight takes f7. Knight takes f7, we are attacking both the queen and the rook, so the king has to capture us, and then we have queen f3, check. The king has to go somewhere, for of course if the king just goes back, we can take this knight for free. And then we are just up a pawn, the enemy cannot castle, and we still have this mating threat, so that's just good. Black's best option is to go here to the center, but then we have knight to c3. And you can see this knight is under attack 3 times, it cannot move because it is pinned. So we're going to win back the knight, the enemy king is in the center of the board, and also this f7 pawn has been taken. So also quite an amazing trap. Then we have another trap against the queen's gambit. Here we're going to play the queen's gambit declined with e6. And we're going to play all regular moves, and then to start off this trap we're going to play this move, knight to d7, and we do this so we can block our own queen to set up a trap. If white captures our pawn, we will recapture, and then white is going to think, I can win this pawn in the center, my opponent made a mistake, but here we also have an amazing trap, knight takes d5, and as you can see, white can take our queen, But if white captures the queen, we have bishop b4 check. The queen has to block. And then here we can even capture this bishop. And you know, we also have the spin on the queen. So we will be able to win the queen as well. So in the end, we're probably going to get a variation like this, where black is just up a piece. And of course here, white doesn't have to take this. White could also, for example, go back. But then we can just play something like knight here, and we're also up a piece because we just took this knight here on d5. Then here the next trap is again the Ruy Lopez, so e4, e5, and then we get to Ruy Lopez. We play our knight here. The enemy king castles. You might think here you can take this pawn, but that's not such a good move because the rook comes in, and then if you go back, this pawn just falls. So here we're going to set up the trap with knight to g5. Knight to g5, and sometimes white will play, actually the most played move in this position, 23,000 times, is the move h3. So white plays h3 and they are going to try to kick away this knight. But here we play the amazing move pawn to h5, and we just give this knight away for free. And capturing this knight is the most played move by white. Black captures back, and now all of a sudden you will see this trap arise. The rook is here open on this file, and the queen will be able to come in with check. If this knight moves back, of course we have queen in, and then for example a move like f4, because white wants to create this escaping square, but we can block it with our pawn, and then we will have this early checkmate. We have another amazing trap that arises from the Sicilian defense. So we play e4, d4, and then we take this pawn. And then we get a position like this. And these are common positions in the Sicilian. And we play our queen to c7, which is similar to the Sicilian Taimanov variation. And then we are going to set up the trap with knight to g4. Knight to g4, and our idea is we're going to put pressure here. We're going to put some checkmating pressure. But if white plays this very nice looking move, h3, which is the most played move in this position, white is just completely lost already. Because we have knight to d4. Knight to d4 attacks the queen, attacks the knight. What is white going to do? If he just moves back the queen, we have takes with check, and then we have this checkmate. And if white captures our knight, we just have a checkmate in one. So that is a really nice trap as well. White is completely lost after he plays the move pawn to h3. Now we have another trap against the queen's gambit. So we play against the queen's gambit knight f6, and then we offer up this free pawn on e5. If white takes it, we're going to play g4. Our plan is to capture this pawn, and this trap works if white tries to defend this pawn. So if white plays something like bishop to f4, we're going to play knight to c6. Of course, we now have two pieces attacking this, so white has to add another defender. So he's going to play something like knight to f3, and then we will give this bishop check. Basically because we do want to get our queen out, but that would block our bishop. So we just throw in this check, and then we get our queen out. And you can see here, again, we have 3 attackers and there's only 2 defenders. So we are now threatening to win this pawn. And if white plays something like pawn to a3 or even another move, we are going to capture this pawn. And then white might think, I have a free bishop here, but we have this amazing checkmate with knight to d3 check, and this pawn cannot capture because otherwise the king would be under attack as well. And I was going to say, in this position, let's say white doesn't take our free bishop and white takes our knight. Of course you can always take this. If he takes with the pawn, you still have the checkmate. If he takes with the bishop, you can take here with check, and you can play this. So even if you go for this trap and white sees it, you will still not be in any trouble. So it's a really nice trap to try. Then we have another trap in the Italian game, e4, e5, and we play bishop to c4. And this trap is against the move d6. And then many players will play bishop to g4 here. It's even the most played move, 20,000 times here, because white is trying to attack this knight and make sure it cannot move. So we're going to play h3, and here this move, bishop to h5, is played 90,000 times. 90,000 times. And then you just have this move, knight takes e5, giving away the queen, But if black captures the queen, there is check and checkmate. And of course, if black captures the knight, for example, you will just take this. And even if black captures this, there's still this check, something like this, check. And here we are still up material, so this is a really good position for white. The next trap is in the bird's opening. So the bird's opening with f4, we're going to play d6, and then we're going to play e5, and we will give away a pawn for free here. So white might think about capturing this pawn, and I hope you can already spot the problem. This is something I have played myself. This trap, I mean, I have played myself. I haven't fallen for it yet. Here we have the move queen to d4, attacking this knight, attacking this rook, then knight to c3, and we just take a free piece in exchange for our pawn. So that's also a really nice trap. It can also happen in some other openings. Then we have another Ruy Lopez trap, where we play both of the knights out, and then we go knight to e7 to set up the trap. If white takes this free pawn, because we just moved the knight, we now have this move c6, and we are already completely winning. The bishop is under attack, so white will probably move it, but then we have queen check, and also the queen can capture here on e5. The best thing to do probably for white, if he sees it in time, is to sack the knight and then run away with the bishop. But still, this position is winning for black, because black is up material, and the king is actually quite safe here, protected by all of these pieces. The king might even dodge here, so black is completely winning. And then this is probably my favorite trap, and at the same time also maybe my least favorite, because I remember falling for this once in an important tournament when I just started playing chess. I was the player with the white pieces. So e4, e5, and then I played the Italian game, and my opponent played knight to d4, and I didn't really understand. I was thinking, okay, this is a free pawn, that's nice. And then my opponent played this move, queen to g5. And I didn't even realize how much trouble I was in. I was just happy because I thought I was winning here, because I now have this knight fork on the queen and the rook. But then there's queen takes g2, there's rook is under attack. Of course, if white goes for this, that's pretty terrible, because we have this check, and then this check, and then maybe something like this, but this is already completely losing for white. So what I did was I tried to protect my rook, so I played rook over to f1, but then my opponent played queen takes e4 check. And here you have to block. I blocked with the bishop, but then there is a devastating move, knight f3 check. So the only way to continue play here is to play the queen out and then trade your queens. But I didn't even see this. I think this was like 12 years ago or something. I played bishop there, and then I fell for this checkmate. So that's it. That's those 10 traps that I wanted to show you. If you like this video, definitely subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. And I just wanted to show you these traps so you don't fall for them yourself. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.